every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
Core TV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to Core TV Primetime News. I am Nifemi Okuntoye. In our major story, Second Republic Transport Minister and PDP stalwart Umar Diko dies at 78 in London. Also in this program, nationwide doctor strike paralyzes health services. President Goodluck Jonathan signs pension reform bill into law. Outside Nigeria, Metal Workers Union strike in South Africa threatens engineering sector.
Tonight in business news. Inability to properly capture value of non-oil export in the last 5 years cost Nigeria $230 million.
And on sports tonight, shocker as 19-year-old Australian Nick Kyrgios, ranked 144 in the world, sends world number 1 Rafael Nadal out of the ongoing Wimbledon Tennis Championship.
And we'll begin tonight on a sad one. The former Minister of Transport during the administration of former President Shehu Shagari, Umar Diko, is dead. He passed away in a London hospital after suffering a stroke. He started playing a role in the nation's governors in 1967 when he was appointed as a commissioner in the then North Central state of Nigeria. He was also secretary of a committee set up by General Hassan Katsina to unite the Northerners after a coup in 1966. In 1979, Diko was made Shagari's campaign manager during the nation's Second Republic. He played a prominent role as transport minister and head of the Presidential Task Force on Rise. Until his death, he was the chairman of the disciplinary committee of the ruling People's Democratic Party. Meanwhile, President Goodluck Jonathan believes Umar Diko is assured of a place in Nigeria's political history because of his advocacy for the supremacy of political parties. He said in a statement that Diko contributed to nurturing and strengthening democracy until the end of his life. The Kaduna state government also says the late Umar Diko was a dogged patriot who dedicated most part of his lifetime to fighting for democracy and civil justice in Nigeria. It added in a tribute to the Second Republic politician that future generations of Nigerians will not forget the role he played in stabilizing the nation after the forced military coup in 1966. Umar Diko's rival and former governor of the old Kaduna state, Balarabe Musa, also described Diko's death as a national loss. He told Core TV News in a telephone interview that Diko was a member of a group called Kaduna Mafia, which collaborated with its southern counterparts to keep the federal government accountable to Nigerians in the 1970s. Away from that, doctors have made good their threat to abandon public hospitals across the country. In Abuja, no single medical doctor was cited in any of the public hospitals. Only nurses were seen attending to patients. At the National Hospital, some of the patients were discharged because of the strike, but they refused to go home.
It's the first day of a nationwide doctor strike in Nigeria. The National Hospital is usually a beehive of activities, but not today. The hallway is empty and the words are scanty. Doctors are not in sight and the nurses are in no mood to work. Only a few patients are in the wards. We were told many of them have since been discharged, but there are also others who are not prepared to go home yet.
It can't be a voluntary discharge. I was in my room last night and a doctor came, a lady, said they are going on strike and that they have to discharge me. I said, discharge me in this condition? How do you want me to handle it? I can't be on my feet. So how am I going to handle it at home?
And this woman, who was practically relocated to the hospital because of her sick husband, is in a fix.
Yes, they said they're on strike, so there's no one to treat him, so we should leave. Then give us B now. They didn't even give well treatment, and the B is too much. And that tell us to go to another hospital. So if we use the money and pay here now, what will go and pay you in the next hospital?
But the hospital management claims that there are no plans to discharge any patient forcefully. Dr. Tayo Hastrop is the spokesman of the National Hospital.
Management has met and resolved that we will not discharge the patients in the wards. We will attend to them except the ones that are due for discharge. And we also accept emergency cases, but we will not admit patients to the wards. Any strike in the health sector will not affect people, particularly patients.
For now, the doctor strike is in full swing across the country because the authorities have yet to accede to the demands outlined by the Nigerian Medical Association.
The indefinite national strike was called by the Nigerian Medical Association. Oluwaseyi Adegoke visited some hospitals in Lagos. A report is presented from our studios.
The Nigerian Medical Association says it has been taken for granted by the federal government, and until the federal government meets the 24 points demand, there is no going back on the strike. President of the Resident Doctors Association, Lagos University Teaching Hospital Chapter, Omojowolo Lubumi, says though they sympathize with patients and the sick who will be mostly affected, there is no going back on the planned strike.
The issues involved are many, and those have been well outlined in the communique that was issued earlier. And on this issue, NMA has had series of negotiations with the federal government. Now, some of the issues, there are 24 of them, but it comprises issue concerning residency training, funding of residency training, issue of healthcare coverage for Nigerians, issue of consultancy status, issue of position appointment of the chief medical director, and issue concerning abolition of the position of the deputy CMAC, among other things. They are contentious issues which NMA, despite all our negotiations, have not been able to make any appreciable progress. So, and we have been forced to call this strike action.
Vice President of the Resident Doctors Association, Akikumi Afolabi, says the dialogue they had with the federal government did not yield any positive results.
The Nigerian Medical Association has engaged in so many discussions with the federal government, and an ultimatum was given. And even after the ultimatum was given, the federal government invited them to a meeting which they attended, and all the matters were discussed. But I think the association has not seen enough sincerity being demonstrated by the federal government, and that's why the strike has been called upon. Most of the issues in the 24-point demand are issues that are very easy to resolve, you understand, if the government shows a lot of sincerity. So negotiations have actually been ongoing for a very long time. For some of the agreements were signed in January, this is July, a lot of them has not been met. So the truth is that negotiations have been ongoing for a very long time, but it is high time, something that has to be done just to put the federal government back to their words.
The Nigerian Medical Association says the strike is aimed at saving the healthcare delivery system from retardation.
An explosion have reportedly killed people at the popular Monday market in Maiduguri, northeastern Nigeria. The explosives were said to have been hidden in a vehicle carrying charcoal. No group has claimed responsibility yet for the attack. The driver of the vehicle was believed to be among those killed, while several vehicles were said to have either been damaged or destroyed. Witnesses said the casualty figure would have been higher, but for the absence of most people who were still at home due to the Ramadan fast. Members of the House of Representatives are concerned about the state of security equipment used by security forces to wage war against insurgents. Speaking during the debate on the bill for an act to amend the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria, the lawmakers were of the view that modern security equipment will enhance security in the country. The bill was referred to the House Committee on Defense for further action.
We're also trying to bring in the Ministry of Science and Technology to have an input into the composition of the board, because we believe, Mr. Speaker, sir, that what is needed is a joint effort by all concerned, everybody concerned in Nigeria, to make sure that the armed forces are well equipped and empowered to be able to carry out the responsibilities which they must do in the current context of Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, sir, I think that this bill should be commended to the House. It's non-controversial, and I believe that members should support it.
This particular bill, Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, reminds me of an application I brought here a little while back to seek to equip us to better man our roads with the latest technology possible. And the reason then I advance, which I believe is relevant even in this particular bill, Mr. Speaker, is that whereas the whole world is moving towards technological advancement in the manner of delivery of security, in our country we are still very much rooted in the past, and we're doing things using updated methods, especially the manual system of checking of vehicles that we are embarked on our roads presently.
President Goodluck Jonathan signed the Pension Reform Bill 2014 into law. The new law repeals the Pension Reform Act No. 2 of 2004. The president signed the bill at a brief ceremony witnessed by Vice President Ahmad Sambo and Attorney General of the Federation Mohammed Adoke. Director General of the National Pension Commission Chinelu Amazu was also in attendance. You're watching Court TV Primetime News live from Lagos. We'll take a break and we'll be back with more stories. Do stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ghana. Please remain seated and ensure your seatbelts are fastened. You can now turn on your MTN mobile phone data to enjoy a browsing rate of 5 kobo per kilobyte with MTN One World. Thank you.
Absolutely. Browse like home with MTN One World. Surfing the web from any MTN operating country costs the same like home. Enjoy affordable rates when you call and send text messages. Terms and conditions apply.
MTN. Everywhere you go.
This one wash challenge will test Ariel to see if it removes stains in one wash. Let the challenge begin. First, chocolate and juice. We will wash shirts with Ariel. Look, Ariel has cleaned in just one wash. So which detergent removes stains in one wash? Ariel, P&G Everyday Quality Brand.
Core TV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, People's Parliament from the National, State and Local Government Assembly. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 01453-3407.
Our 24-hour news station. You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you back. Former Osun State Governor Olagunsoye Oyinlola held closed-door talks with President Goodluck Jonathan a few days after APC leaders met him. Oyinlola, who is also former National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, was led to the meeting by Party Chairman Adamu Muazu. The session lasted about an hour, and afterwards the former Osun State Governor insisted that he remained PDP National Secretary.
All I'm telling you is that Oyinlola, in the face of the law, remains authentic Secretary of People's Democratic Party. Anybody in that office for now is a pretender.
We apologize for the mix-up earlier in that report. The House of Representatives is to investigate a recent boundary dispute between communities in Kogi and Anambra State, which claimed at least 2 lives. This was on the basis of a motion by Representative Ismail Hussein, who sought the legislator's intervention before the matter got out of hand. The leader of the Anambra State caucus in the House was, however, quick to describe her people as peace-loving. The disclosure by the House of Representatives Committees on Electoral Matters that inadequate financing may affect the 2015 general elections to be conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has been trailed by reactions. Only 45 billion naira has so far been released by the federal government out of the 120 billion naira approved for the commission. Analysts who visited our station in Lagos say the amount for INEC is not a problem if the commission can guarantee free and fair elections.
I've traveled within Abia State alone. It's such a wide, how much more Borno? You know, I've had the opportunity of traveling between Borno, in Borno State. So I know INEC is operating within a very large, large country. But my concern, not just for INEC and this money that has been proposed, is the general attitude that we have towards money.
So if 120 billion is going to be given to INEC, Nigeria will expect, we should expect, and we must expect at least value for money, and also we must see a complete free and fair. Some people might say it is not possible. Of course it is possible.
They added that the challenges Nigeria is experiencing cannot be separated from the problem of leadership. Nigeria, according to them,
very long way, and the mistakes we have made in the past and attitudes we've shown in the past, we should by now outgrow them. Then respect the citizens. Respect the citizens, respect their view, respect their vote, like has just been done in Ekiti State, when the defeated person will say, yeah, the people don't want me, and vacate the seat.
They should be able to give us guarantee that 2015 election is going to be okay for that amount of money they're collecting from us.
The freezing of the Adamawa State Government account by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has taken its toll on civil servants. Days after payday, civil servants in the state are yet to receive their June salaries. No one has offered explanation over the cause of the delay. The state's Accountant General Nasir Mohammed says the Anti-Graft Commission is now in charge of the state's treasury. The Adamawa State Government's bank accounts were frozen in June amidst outcry of looting uncovered in an ongoing investigation. The FCC says its investigation was triggered by petitions alleging massive looting of the state's treasury over invoicing and inflation of contracts. Meanwhile, the Adamawa State Deputy Governor Bala James Ngilari has debunked the allegation of financial misconduct leveled against him by the State House of Assembly. In a notice of impeachment raised by the legislators of the State Assembly, the Deputy Governor was accused of misappropriating 50 million naira state fund.
I
I didn't divert 1 kobo. I repeat, 1 kobo. If anybody has any contrary, they can let him bring it. It must be something arising from the figment of somebody's imagination. I carry my responsibilities in accordance with the law. In no way did I misappropriate public funds, but it should be remembered that I cannot hold brief in respect of any activity that happened after I left the Ministry of Commerce.
Ngelale expressed displeasure at the action of elders and stakeholders of the party for not inviting him to a meeting where a communique was raised against him and the governor. More protests have followed the proposed creation of council development areas in Ekiti State. Koro Ekiti, in Ijero local government area of the state, have asked for a separate local council with headquarters in Koro Ekiti. Rashid was there.
The traditional independence of most communities in Ekiti has been the contending issue surrounding the proposed creation of local council development areas. Communities like Koro Ekiti see the carved local council area as an infringement on their traditional independence.
Traditional address. The second phase is political, social, economic address by Chief Sakoro. We will not condone any deliberate or subtle infringement of our constitutional rights anymore, as we will continue to strive even harder for the full realization of our legitimate political and economic aspirations within the context of the Nigeria Federation.
Koro Ekiti is one of the communities under Ijero local government. It has now been merged with the newly created Irede local council with headquarters in Ipoti Ekiti. They protested the creation of the new Irede local council.
The demarcation exercise smacks of willful distortion of the traditional history of Ijero local government. It is subversive of Ikoro's supreme royalty as well as economic interest. In effect, we, the good people of Ikoro community, deem the latest exercise as utterly irregular and hence unacceptable. And so, we reject it.
The Onikoro in council led the protest, stating the demand of the community.
We restate our legitimate and principled demand for a separate Eshobe local council development authority with headquarters at Ikoro Ekiti. But failing which, we shall employ all constitutional means at our disposal to pursue an agenda for ultimate self-autonomy for Ikoro community.
These protests have showed the dissatisfaction of some communities who are supposed to be beneficiaries of the new local councils. The white paper on the creation has, however, made provision for referendum on the new council areas. Rashid, Core TV News, Koro Ekiti.
A pressure group coalition against corrupt leaders has called on President Goodluck Jonathan and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to look into the issue of endemic corruption among top officials of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Olajumoke Olatuji has more on this report.
The Coalition Against Corrupt Leaders, CACO, has used the platform presented by the yearly Anti-Drug Day celebration to call on President Goodluck Jonathan to take a closer look at the activities of drug barons in Nigeria. The group also says the president should take a keen interest in the alleged cover-up of the activities of drug barons by top officials of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, and the alleged opulent lifestyles, and see if it is consistent with their income. The chairman of the group, Debo Adeniro, says some elements within the agency are helping drug convicts to evade serving their jail terms.
Trading and trafficking in illicit drug has become problematic in Nigeria. This is because since the advent of Amadou Gade as the chairman, chief executive of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the war against drug has nosedived to the extent that most drug barons have gone out of court scot-free. Even those that are convicted are not allowed to serve their jail terms. What we want the president to do is to set up a panel to investigate the petition that Mr. Paul Audu has sent to him, to investigate the rot that is going on in the LDLA, and to investigate the fact that some convicted drug barons or drug peddlers are not allowed to spend their terms in prison as dictated by the competent court of competent jurisdiction.
He, however, says the Nigerians should not be quick to judge the NDLEA on the appointment of Rolly Bode George, positing that she should be left to prove herself and not be judged in the alleged misconduct of her husband.
As far as we are concerned, Rolly is qualified to be the Director General of NDLEA. Rolly has not been convicted of any, in any competent court of law as far as we know. And Rolly's husband's sin, even if he has committed any sin, cannot be visited on her. What is important is to examine Rolly's personal credibility, not because he was wife to somebody. Because when Bode George was to go to prison, even when Rolly was in the court premises when the husband was convicted, she didn't go to prison with him. It means that everybody answers to his own responsibility.
Kako also condemns the sad development of drug barons flaunting their wealth all over Nigeria. Olajumoke Olatunji, Core TV News, Lagos.
The Lagos state government has expressed its readiness to ensure that the process of slaughtering cows in the state is in conformity with international standards. Governor Babatunde Fashola made the disclosure at the Okoba Abattoir in Agege local government. Abiola Oluwole was there, as reporters presented from our studios.
The Okoba Abattoir is a major economic chain in Lagos with different business activities in meat business. In order to ensure that operators of the abattoir carry out the business in line with best practices, the state government sponsored the leadership of the abattoir to Kenya and Botswana so as to learn advanced technologies and maximize output. Governor Babatunde Fashola visited the abattoir on an inspection. Fashola says some of the amenities needed in the abattoir are perimeter fence and reconstruction of the trailer park, among others.
This is the reform they themselves have taken on, as the Seriki has told us that this is their reform. So we are just here coasting with what they are doing and giving help. One of the things we will do very quickly is to help them to fence up this place now, because that's his request. He wants us to fence the place up. So that's really it. We want to improve the capacity of this place. First, to keep jobs. First, to keep employment, and to employ more people. It can employ more people if it's organized.
The governor's visit is expected to boost business in the abattoir and raise the standard of hygiene.
Coming up next now is business news with Sabena Izoko shortly after this break.
This one wash challenge will test Ariel to see if it removes stains in one wash. Let the challenge begin. First, chocolate and juice. We will wash shirts with Ariel. Look, Ariel has cleaned in just one wash. So which detergent removes stains in one wash? Ariel, P&G Everyday Quality Brand.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ghana. Please remain seated and ensure your seatbelts are fastened. You can now turn on your MTN mobile phone data to enjoy a browsing rate of 5 kobo per kilobyte with MTN One World. Thank you.
Absolutely. Browse like home with MTN One World. Surfing the web from any MTN operating country costs the same like home. Enjoy affordable rates when you call and send text messages. Terms and conditions apply.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Core TV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, People's Parliament from the National, State and Local Government Assembly. Contact us now
on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733, 01453-3407.
Our 24-hour news station.
Nigerians continue to
Tonight, the city of Lagos waits at the dark as all routes
to you on
Be the first to know.
on Core TV News.
From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa, we break the news.
One Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core
Our
TV.
24-hour news station.
Hello there, you're welcome to the world of business. The Nigerians' inability to properly capture the value of non-oil export moving to different markets in Africa, Europe and America in 5 years may have cost the country a whopping of $230 million in revenue that could have accrued as export duties to the federal government. Between 2009 and 2013, the cumulative total of these uncaptured non-oil export hit $46.19 billion, according to the data from the International Trade Center aggregated by the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. Africa's biggest economy has failed to plug such and many other revenue loopholes, leading the country to incur so much waste, resulting in graft and inability to meet financial and developmental obligations. The Central Bank of Nigeria data in 2013 showed the country lost $1.3 trillion from the oil decline, occasioned mainly by the crude oil theft, which is yet to be checked into the Niger Delta region. Again, this is coming at a point when allocation to state government have declined, dropping to 634.721 billion naira in April 2014 from 641.38 billion naira recorded in the previous month. Stakeholders say in spite of the efforts of Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, which manages data in the country, there is still so much disconnect among relevant agencies, leading to poor data coordination. Nigerians are likely to experience further power outage as water levels of the country's 3 hydropower plants, Shiroro, Kenji and Jeba, ebb significantly. The Group Executive Director, Gas and Power, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC), David Ike, says the supply situation might improve soon as maintenance work on the Utorogu gas plant was completed last Friday. Ike says the experts are test running to establish that the power plant is sound, following which gas will be pumped to the power plants. Since the rise in water levels expected to drive the turbines at the hydropower plants at this time of the year has not come. As such, the nation is relying on the thermal plants, which are themselves handicapped by inadequate gas supply owing to ongoing maintenance work on the Utorogu gas plant. Supply in Lagos generally has been bad, despite the city enjoys some priority when it comes to power plants in the country. Meanwhile, the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, says the power generation and distribution companies can be blamed for worsening electricity supply in the country, saying it currently has capacity to evacuate more than 4,000 megawatts. The Pan Steel Corporation of China has been commended for taking advantage of the Nigerian Industrial Revolution plan to invest $5 billion new steel plants in Nigeria. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment Ambassador Abdulkadir Musa made the statement during the courtesy visit by the President of the Pan Steel Corporation, China, Zhang Dede, to the ministry headquarters in Abuja. The Permanent Secretary, who represented the Honorable Minister Olusegun Aganga at the occasion, said the National Industrial Revolution Plan has made steel central in the industrialization process of the country, which is aimed at addressing the issue of manufacturing sectors in Nigeria. Abdulkadir says the federal government has endorsed legislation in the National Assembly to empower entrepreneurs and protect the investment in the country, adding that leading manufacturers in the automobile industry have come from different parts of the world to embrace federal government auto policy. Earlier, he pointed out Nigeria has a good investment environment, which prompts them to invest $5 billion for new steel plant that will produce 4 to 5 million metric tons per annum. The Central Bank of Nigeria says excess charges constituting 50% of customers' complaints has been treated by the bank as of May 2014. The Director of Consumers Protection Department, CBN Umar Duse, at the summit in Lagos said the total number of petitions recorded was inception of the office when it was still known as the Financial Policy and Regulation Department in March 2010 to May 2014. Specifically, he stated the petition were generally for issues relating to excess charges, unauthorized deduction, dishonored checks, check conversion, foreign remittance, and automated teller machine frauds. The Central Bank of Nigeria director, however, noted the excess charges constituted more than half of the petition of the Consumers Protection Department had received and treated within the period, and listed some of the reasons for the ugly trend to include greed, poor service delivery by banks, as well as failure to adhere to the provisions of the extant guidelines and agreements. The Central Bank of Nigeria also said it has treated 4,142 fraud-related petitions against the banks in the country, which resulted in the refund of 14.69 billion naira to aggrieved customers. The team of Institute of Directors today visited the Nigerian Stock Exchange to endorse the floor on the works of the Nigerian Stock Exchange under the leadership of the CEO, Oscar Oyema. The Director General Institute of Directors, Victor Banjo, stated this during an interview with newsmen in Lagos. Banjo spoke on the collaboration with the Nigerian Stock Exchange, stability, integrity, and pledges to be supportive to the exchange.
We are seeing tremendous improvement, and also the level of service they are getting is great. And because the IOD and the Nigerian Stock Exchange, we share a very common interest in entrenching entrenching better corporate governance in the Nigerian system.
The event was flanked by the CEO of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Oscar Oyema, past president of the IOD, Emmanuel Ejewere, Emmanuel and Eniola Fadoyomi, president of the IOD, Victor Banjo, Chief Wanze, and among others. And on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange report, equity transactions on the Nigerian Stock Exchange Tuesday closed on a bullish note. The Nigerian Stock Exchange all shares appreciated by 128.83 points to close higher at 42,611.30 basis points. Also, the market capitalization, which opened at 14.027 trillion naira, rose by 0.30% to close higher at 14.070 trillion naira. In all, a total of 621 million shares valued at 4.98 billion naira were exchanged at 5,455 deals. Report shows that 7up PLC topped the gainers chart, followed by UACN PLC, International Breweries PLC, Presco PLC, and Wapco PLC. And on the other hand, MRS Oil PLC led the losers chart, followed by 40 Oil PLC, Guinness PLC, Owando, and Carventi PLC. Meanwhile, here are the top 5 trades. And that's it on business news. The unbelievable happens in the world of tennis. Now let's join Tolu Ojeomi, who will be telling us more about that. Coming up shortly. Stay with us.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Usain Bolt storming, no, he takes Puyol with a flying lead.
Go taking them out in the lead.
Good evening, we'll bring you sports news tonight, and I am Tolu Ojeomi. Super Eagles coach Stephen Keshi has denied reports that he has resigned his position. While Nigeria were beaten 2-0 by France in the round of 16 of the 2014 FIFA World Cup on Monday, and immediately reports started flying about Keshi's resignation. The AFCON 2013 winning coach says the report is far from true as he did not step down. He also affirmed that his contract with the Nigeria Football Federation expires after performance at the World Cup, and NFF is yet to open a negotiation to review the contract. Keshi made this statement as the team gets set to jet out of Brazil. Argentina booked their place in the World Cup quarter-final after Angel Di Maria struck in the dying minutes of injury time, and that's to secure a 1-0 win over Switzerland. Angel Di Maria's extra-time winner carried Argentina into the World Cup quarter-finals after an unconvincing display against Switzerland. The two-time champions dominated possession in a turgid last 16 tie, but were unable to break through until Di Maria swept in Lionel Messi's pass. Still in Brazil 2014, FIFA has refused to comment on allegations of match fixing during Cameroon's World Cup games for fear of compromising any possible future investigation. The African nation finished bottom of Group A after losing to Mexico, Croatia and hosts Brazil, but their game against the latter of that trio has come under scrutiny. A well-known match fixer reportedly predicted the 4-0 result before the game, prompting the Cameroon Football Association, FECAFOOT, to open its own investigation on Monday. FECAFOOT President Joseph Owona says the recent allegations of fraud around Cameroon's 2014 FIFA World Cup preliminary games do not reflect the values and principles promoted by the country football administration in line with FIFA Code of Conduct and the ethics. And Barcelona sporting director Andoni Zubizarreta and new signing Ivan Rakitic have praised Liverpool striker Luis Suarez after the Uruguay international released a public apology for biting Giorgio Chiellini. Suarez released a statement after being hit by a 4-month ban by FIFA for the incident that took place during his side World Cup Group D clash with Italy last week. The apology has led to talks that he was still to show remorse by Barcelona, who have been heavily linked to a move for the 27-year-old. And on Tuesday, as the club unveiled new signing Rakitic, the Croatia international, and Zubizarreta praised the character and humility shown by Suarez. Now we'll bring you the unbelievable in the world of tennis. Australian teenager Nick Kyrgios caused a sensational upset as he beat world #1 Rafael Nadal to reach the quarterfinals at the Wimbledon. The 19-year-old white card's huge serve helped him to a 7-6, 7-5, 5-7, 7-6, 7-5, 6-3 victory on his center court debut, and they will play Milos Raonic next. Ranked 144, Kyrgios is the first man outside the top 100 to beat a world #1 at a Grand Slam since 1992. Nadal, 27, has failed to make the last 8 at Wimbledon since 2011. He lost in the second round 2 years ago, the first round last year, and now experiences a defeat not suffered by someone at the top of the rankings since Jim Courier's defeat by world number 193, Andrei Holowski, at Wimbledon 22 years ago. The Spaniard had lost the first set in each of his first 3 matches before, and now recovering to win in 4, but could not repeat the effort against rampant Kyrgios. That's all in the world of sports tonight. A big thank you to you for watching. I'm Tolu Ojewumi. Over now to Nifemi Oguntoye for the rest of the news.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back. Report just reaching us says a bomb blast has occurred along Bankirua city of Kaduna State. The police public relations officer Aminu Lawan confirmed the blast, but added that there was no casualty. We'll bring you details of that story subsequently. Outside Nigeria now, nearly 250,000 members of South Africa's largest union down tools to begin an indefinite strike that threatens to bring the engineering sector to a halt. Members of the National Union of Metal Workers marched in cities across the country, demanding a pay rise of up to 12% and better working conditions. In Johannesburg city centre, thousands of workers clad in red-waved sticks and branches from trees as they marched to the offices of an industry federation to hand in their demands. The strike is expected to hit more than 10,000 metals and engineering firms that account for about 4% of South African economic output. The industrial unrest could also spread to the power generation sector, where wage talks at state-owned electricity monopoly Eskom are deadlocked. The model trial of South African Paralympian Oscar Pistorius turned its focus onto whether neighbors could have heard his girlfriend screaming on the night he shot her dead. Prosecutors are trying to prove that River Steenkamp screamed and that this showed the star athlete knowingly gunned her down in the fit of anger after a row in the early hours of Valentine's Day last year. The defense caught Pistorius' longtime manager, Pete Van Zyl, who described Pistorius as having a heightened sense of awareness and being fearful of crime, but rarely aggressive.
So do you swear that the evidence about you shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
In Rio, where...
Meaning he does not want to be televised?
Through all the interaction I had with Mr. Pistorius over the years, it was very evident that, and for me the best way to describe it is basically a heightened sense of awareness.
When you were abroad and he was in his hotel room, how would he, according to you, secure his safety?
By knocking on the door, he always asked first who is at the door, and then secondly, when he opened the door was not only just locked but always had the latch on, which was also for me interesting, being in a safe environment, that he always had the latch on the door apart from just normal lock on the door.
You also informed me about, as an example, when you sat down at this dining room table to look at contracts.
Whenever we were sitting around the dining table, and it sometimes even was a bit annoying for me that I could never keep him focused on it, as he was always looking around, asking his housekeeper if the front door was locked, asking where the dogs are, so always fidgety.
And that's been the show tonight on Core TV Primetime News. On behalf of the production crew, I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thanks for being there.